Hey contractors, welcome to the Beyond the Tools podcast. Today I am doing a rare solo episode because we've seen so much inspiration from trade shows that we've been to lately that I really want to share with you some ways that you can maximize those trade shows, whether you're an exhibitor or just an attendee. So one of our annual goals this year was to really get out there more and participate in in-person events. I think when you work in digital marketing, when all your clients are not located close to you and your team members as well, it becomes really easy to get super insular and to forget that you need to get out there and meet people. So we did a couple events last year, especially last quarter. But coming into 2026, I really wanted to be a lot more intentional about what we participated in, start to exhibit at some shows, really start to get out there in the community in real life a little bit more. So I've seen some really smart things to do at trade shows, whether that's your local home show or more of an industry event, that I wanted to share with you guys so that as you're getting into these events, whether you're planning that for the fall or spring next year, that you've got some ideas of how to really maximize those events. So kicking off this year, we went to Epic in Las Vegas. It was my second time at that event and truly so well done. I'm always impressed at what the organizers can achieve there. And, it is a show that I considered exhibiting at. Ultimately, couldn't make it work this year, but I wanted to attend and really get a better feel for what others were doing so we could inform our own approach to having a booth at a show like this. So one of the things I was really impressed by is my fellow marketing colleagues. And I mean, no surprise that marketers are really good at content and trade shows. But of course, I saw a lot of things that I wanted to share that all of us could really emulate, and not necessarily something that I see a lot of people that are actually running home service companies doing. So for example, I saw Jen McKee was doing full podcast episodes at the show. Thaddeus Tandu, also who's been a guest, both have been a guest on this podcast. Thaddeus was doing quick 5-minute interviews. And he was asking 5 questions to each interviewee. I got to participate in that, and Thaddeus did an incredible job. But it was such a great way to get people involved, to have conversations, and ultimately use that for content, of course, for his agency. So both Jen and Thaddeus, I saw a lot of content creation happening. Jason Walker as well, J-Dubs. He was speaking at the event, but he was also capturing content the entire time. We did a fun little video with some salt that I brought, so maybe we can link that in the show notes if you want to take a look. But all of these people, I thought it was really great how intentional they were about content. They went in with a plan, especially in the case of Thaddeus. He had questions prepared. He had all his gear. He's ready to go. Jen, again, I saw do full interviews. And then with Jason, more so going around capturing the event, having a lot more fun with it, a little bit more on the fly. But I took a lot from that of how we can take that same approach when we go into trade shows. So the next event that we went to was CMPX in Toronto. That was this past March. And Samantha, Magdalena, and I went there. We had a booth. It's our first time doing a booth at a show of this size. I think they had something like 16,000 attendees. So it was a pretty big show, 3 full days. And definitely a new experience for us. We learned a ton, but I think one of the things that worked really, really well is that we did a lot of live interviews. So we had a little section of our booth where I had my ring light set up kind of to the side, but it pointed towards the backdrop of the booth. So when somebody came by that I knew, or, had a really good story or an interesting approach to their business. I just kind of pulled them aside and we did some live interviews. Magdalena and Samantha also did some videos. It was a great way to spend the downtime. So there were periods where it wasn't so busy, lunch or the tail end of the day where people started filing out. You're kind of just hanging around. That was really great time to capture some content. And with all of those little interviews, I guess the broader purpose of this and what you can apply here is that gave us the ability to not only build a relationship with that person, but we are also then sharing that out. Anybody who we interviewed, we added them as a collaborator on Instagram, which is a feature. It's kind of like tagging, but what it allows them to do is that if they accept that collaboration, then that video goes to all their followers as well, as if they had posted it themselves. So it's a really powerful way to get your business in front of more people. And I'm going to explain a little bit deeper how this applies specifically to home service companies. So stick with me here. So every time we did those collaborations, we were reaching out to that person's network. Obviously, it was great for that person as well. They seemed like an expert. They were seen being interviewed. It was truly a win-win. And that was something then that we were able to keep content going, keep the conversation going about the event well after the event had ended. Now, another thing that we did with the folks that we got to chat with live in person is that a number of them, we were like, hey, this person would be a great fit for a full podcast episode. So we were able to build on that. More of those interviews are coming. I'm very excited because we've met some really incredible people there. But again, it gave us opportunities for further nurturing some of those relationships with other people in the industry. Another thing that we did just kind of at the tail end of CMPX is that we went around to a couple booths and just did quick 60 to 90 second interviews with those exhibitors. And this is something that 110% every business owner should be doing at their local trade shows. Okay, so imagine you go to your local home show and maybe you don't have a booth there, but you want to see what's going on. You want to network with people there. You want to build up your connections. Even if you don't have a booth, if you go around to select businesses. So let's say, for example, I have a heating and cooling company. I see that there is somebody that's working in smart home automation that has a booth. That's a great person for me to go up, have a chat with, interview them for 60 seconds, because you're going to tap into their network of people as well. You're going to make them feel good. That's a potential referral buddy for you in the future. And again, it's showing that to your audience, to potential customers down the road, that, hey, you guys are out there in the community. You're well known in the industry. You are a leader in that space. So you can go around at your local home show, identify people that are basically serving the same audience and not competing. Now, that said, I think you should also interview your competitors. I think that's really powerful as well. But if you have some qualms about that, certainly look at, okay, are there mortgage brokers? Are there realtors? Are there painters? Are there plumbers if you don't do plumbing, electrical, smart home automation, home audio? There are all sorts of different categories of people who are going to be at your local home show that you can do a quick interview with. That's going to build a relationship with that person. That's going to allow you to tap into their networks and their potential customers. And it's going to give you a potential referral partnership in the future. Content is probably one of the most underutilized opportunities at trade shows. And you're already there. You've invested the time, the energy, the money, especially if you have a booth. You want to make sure that you are maximizing the value that you get there. And specifically, if you want to see an example of this, I've got to give a shout out to the folks at Maple Air. So Maple Air is a heating and cooling company that's based in Toronto, Ontario. They had their CEO at CMPX. They were going around doing quick videos, doing kind of like a compilation video of what CMPX was all about. And I saw that on Instagram. I thought it was fantastic. I actually commented on it and asked them to pop by the booth. Farzad came by. We did a quick little interview. But what this really demonstrates is that, again, they are showing potential customers that they are at the top of their industry. They are learning, they are engaging with other professionals in the industry. They're bringing that information back to their customers and their community, and it gives them a little personality. And again, we wouldn't have approached Maple Air if we didn't know that they existed. So it also gave them more opportunities for further media coverage, being able to get out in front of more people. And again, it's that branding. It's developing those relationships with your industry and with potential customers. All this requires is documenting your time. Doesn't have to be complicated. In fact, I went to my local home show. We've been involved with that for over a decade now, but I went and I wasn't able to bring any of my team, so I just hauled out my phone. I had a chat with a couple exhibitors and just recorded them, giving a little intro to their company and why they were at home show and one thing that homeowners should know. And then we've got a bunch of videos that we can put out there to promote the show, promote those exhibitors, and also extending our own brand in the process. So that's really the bigger takeaway here that I wanted to share. Your local trade shows, your industry events, these are not just things that you go to, you walk away, and it's over. This is something that you can build around. This is an opportunity to extend your brand even further, to reach people, whether they are at the show or not, and to really demonstrate your leadership in the industry. So when you start thinking about what you can do before, during, and after that show, that's where you're really able to get a lot more value than you probably thought. And on that note, before we wrap up, I just wanted to share that we're going to be at the Meat Show this week in Moncton. So that's May 6th and 7th. This is another big HVAC, electrical, plumbing conference in Atlantic, Canada. Really excited to be there. This is our first time at the show. It does run every 2 years, and we're going to have a booth there. So if you are going to be there, definitely encourage you to pop by. And if this sounds interesting to you, if you want to have a quick little interview, we can definitely do that. Otherwise, I'd love to just be able to meet in person, say hi, have a conversation. We're going to have some great little giveaways and stuff going on as well. So I can't wait to see you there. Otherwise, thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed this podcast, please send us a DM. Let us know. It's always really great to hear from our audience what content is resonating and what's not. Otherwise, I hope you are having an incredible start to the summer, busy season ahead, and we have more great interviews to come. So stay tuned for the next episode of Beyond the Tools.